Welcome to the Meria Heller Show, on the net since 2000 and still going strong. If you feel like you're not getting the real news, if you feel like you're not connected spiritually, you have found your home. Meria covers a wide range of topics as only a snarky New Yorker can. Straight up, no chaser. No censorship, no corporate sponsors, thus true freedom of speech. Your subscription gives you unlimited access as a member of the smartest audience on earth. Relax and enjoy the education. Now here's Meria.
Good afternoon, world. Meria here, alive and kicking. Welcome to the show. Today's my favorite guest, Bev Conover, the editor of and publisher of the Intrepid Report. If you're not familiar with it, get over to intrepidreport.com. I have a live link right here. Support her work. She's one of the extreme few that are left that are actually telling the truth. So, hi, Bev.
Hi, Meria.
It's been 2 months since we talked, and gee, too bad we have nothing to talk about.
Oh, Lordy. I have never seen anything like this. It just gets worse and worse and worse.
Well, you know, one thing that I was really happy about is that Arizona went blue. And I was just at my doctor's office, and everybody there is normal. So they were also very happy that we went blue. And they were all expecting that all our stress-related diseases might actually go away after January 20th.
Oh, my God, no. The poor people.
I mean, it's been incredible. That's all I have to say. I remember when we were talking earlier, you mentioned something, and I only saw a small blurb on it, of Trump supporters bursting into ICUs. Is that happening?
Yeah. They haven't actually gotten in yet. There's an article on Raw Story today that they went to this hospital in Utah and were trying to get into the ICU because they don't believe there's anybody in there.
Well, maybe they should have went to Texas, where they have, makeshift morgues happening there.
Oh, there's hardly any cars out in the parking lot.
Oh, God. If you're in the hospital, you had somebody drop you off because you can't have anybody in there with you. So, of course, there'd be less cars in the parking lot.
Well, in the ICU that are probably brought in by an ambulance. They're not letting people just go into the hospital to see people who have the COVID.
Right.
I'm telling you, this is insanity. We're in this utter period of insanity.
Absolutely. So I want to ask you because...
And one thing we can count on, that Pence won't have the guts to cite the 25th Amendment to get Trump out of there before he does something super awful.
Well, I mean, he's already lashing out as the sore loser he is. You saw that he fired Mark Esper on a tweet. And then he also fired, let me see, I wrote the guy's name down. It was Chris something or other. Chris Krebs, who was the election official.
Him.
Right, well, because...
He fired him by tweet. The guy didn't... Unbelievable.
Well, once he's out of office, he's just a regular citizen. So hopefully Twitter will kill his account.
I doubt it.
Well, they had no problem. They had no problem banning me.
I'm very nervous about the Twitters and the Facebooks and the Googles now playing censor. That would be like the phone company deciding what we could say to each other over the phone.
Right. Well, I just got a 30-day ban, another one on Facebook. I'm permanently suspended on Twitter for posting the truth. And yet these criminals that encourage, violence, white supremacists, they seem to keep their accounts, no problem there.
Where is the so-called major media in all of this? They go on by the hour, over and over the same stuff.
I agree.
And the important stuff they do not touch.
I agree. I totally agree. And I think the media is partially, maybe a lot, responsible for Trump being in office in the first place. And they keep covering him. Everything he does and says. I mean, it's all day long. As if there's no other news happening in the world.
Well, those of us who lived in or around New York City, we knew about Trump.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and his niece Mary, I agree with her. He can't help it. I mean, he is so damaged that he cannot help her. Was it this past week? I forget now which ones were all going on about how Trump was going to go to Mar-a-Lago for Thanksgiving and not come back. Well, now he's not going to Mar-a-Lago.
Right. Well, I heard he would go on Christmas and not come back. So.
Well, no, I heard from Thanksgiving and that he would not come back.
Well, I guess he's gonna practice pardoning with the turkey.
Oh God, I'm telling you.
Well, let me ask you this.
It's disgraceful. It really is.
In all the years, because, we're up there, we're senior citizens, in all the years that I have been alive, and have you ever seen an election like this where the president refuses to accept the result?
No, I have not.
I mean, it's been, what, 14?
As I said, the whole thing is just so utterly insane. Then you got Lindsey Graham shooting off his mouth and going after the Secretary of State of Georgia to throw out ballots.
Right. Now, don't you think he should be investigated for that?
I think he should not just be investigated, he should be arrested for it.
Oh, that works for me, too.
And Trump and his campaign have no money to pay all the debt he wrote to the various municipalities and whatnot where he held rallies. He owes them all this money. But they had $3 million today to spend for a partial recount in Wisconsin. That's not going to do a damn thing for them.
Exactly. Well, listen, I'm reading a really good book by a psychiatrist about Trump, and he calls it The Strange Case of Donald Trump, and compares him to Jekyll and Hyde without the Hyde. And he goes into the very fact, as a top psychologist, actually I'll be interviewing him next month on the show, that Trump is a guy who literally only lives in the moment. He doesn't think ahead, he doesn't think past.
That's the same article that I saw, that Trump can't remember yesterday, so that's why some of the stuff he goes on like it never happened or repeats it.
Right, and
yes,
the fact...
he is damaged. I mean, he is damaged.
Well, you're not going to get an argument out of me. So, he's trying to say this election was stolen. Now, you and I have covered real stolen elections. But when
I am seeing certain people whose names I'm not going to mention that are also saying, that the election was rigged.
Right.
I can't believe it.
I'm seeing it from people I used to respect, actually trying to prove that it was a stolen election. And notice I said used to respect. But a lot of people, that used to have respectable careers jumped on the Trump bandwagon, and it looks like they're never getting off.
Well, these people didn't jump on the Trump bandwagon. They wanted him out, and now that they just about got their wish, now they're saying it's rigged.
Right.
I mean, the only thing that is rigged is that stupid Democrats do not listen to the people. So we're not going to get much from Biden. I know that.
Right. Well, I just read an article earlier that Biden says he doesn't want to have any investigations on Trump. He wants to move forward. I think that would be...
Does that sound familiar? That's like Obama about
and Bush. Exactly. But you have this one Democratic congressman, Bill Pascrell, out of New Jersey, that says that he wants Trump held accountable for all the crimes he's committed against the United States. And he actually put forth a bill for that.
Well, he sure has committed plenty of them.
Well, I mean...
And it's the stuff we don't hear about. I mean, you find it in peculiar places, maybe a little bit online or so forth, etc., but it's not coming across the boob tube.
No, of course it doesn't.
I mean, he's messed with civil service. I see now they've dumped a bunch of bills in, which will probably never get passed, especially if McConnell keeps his leadership, to make sure that he doesn't mess with civil service. He doesn't understand any of this. He has no knowledge of it.
Well, he has no knowledge of history either. I mean, come on. He thinks that Frederick Douglass is still alive. So, doing great work, by the way. But I think that it would be a big mistake if Biden doesn't prosecute Trump, because how else can we get the world's respect back? I mean, they let Bush slide for 9/11 and 2 illegal wars, which was crazy. You know, the Bush-Cheney body count. And now they're going to do the same thing with reach across the aisle. That doesn't work. Do they not learn?
No, they don't. They don't. They're all captive to their money people. Whatever the money people want is what they do. If the money people don't want it, it doesn't get done. It's just like where the people, I just saw a thing again today, 70-some% of the people now want Medicare for all. And of course, Biden doesn't.
Right. Well, listen, I got to tell you that anybody but Trump, okay? I'm going to preface what I'm about to say. Anybody but Trump, even a rock. But I did not think that Biden was the strongest candidate out of what they had to roll out there.
Oh, no, he wasn't. Definitely not.
You know, and, you know, you got to look at, and I'm going to look very carefully at who he puts in position of power.
Well, I've been reading yesterday and today. It's the same old gang.
All right.
As I said, I know I kept saying to people throughout this, I said, yes, they want Trump gone, but I said, do not expect much from Biden.
What do you think what do you think of Kamala Harris? Do you think she will be more in Trump's face or stronger than Biden?
I don't dislike her, but I don't like what she did when she was prosecutor and AG in California. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what to say.
Well, I disagreed with what she did there, too. But, you know, she is a bit of a pistol and a wild card. So
well,
let's hope is right. But, you know, listen, I'm looking forward to the day that Trump is gone. But he can't just be gone. I'm looking forward to the day to get even with him for the 4 years of anxiety, stress, and migraines that he's given me, to cover his downfall, all these legal suits. Because even if he does somehow manage to pardon himself, that doesn't exclude him from the cases against him in the states, like, you know, the Southern District of New York.
No, he can't pardon himself on the, or even get a Pence or whoever to pardon him on the state charges. No, he can't. Mm-hmm. He is ruined. I mean, whether he understands it yet or not, whether he's capable of understanding it, that's another question. He is ruined. I mean, he's facing criminal charges. He's facing bankruptcy. He has no money. I mean, I knew that right all along. This business about him being this real estate mogul. Uh-huh.
Yeah, right.
With what, 6 bankruptcies?
Well, you know, Deutsche Bank said they want to call in his loans. Now, if they call in his loans, which Russia co-signed for, he could lose his properties, whatever, you know, he doesn't owe on them.
Honey, if they go after him on criminal charges, they can seize his property.
And they should. They should all end up like that TV show, Schitt's Creek. And that would be...
There's an article today that the real estate people in New York City are happy that he's moved his residence to Florida, because right now his Trump Tower is not bringing in the money on the rentals.
Right. Well, I feel no pity on him at all. New York is very happy that he's gone, but you see how he's taking his revenge on New York.
He's taking his revenge on anybody he can take it on.
Right. Did you see his speech on not giving New York the vaccine for COVID-19?
Oh, yes, which I think is absolutely illegal. That's another issue. But he won't be around to make that decision. But, I mean, he just shoots off his mouth. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Right, he knew everything. He knew better than the generals. He knows better than all the medical people.
Oh yeah, he's a stable genius. Do you believe that he had COVID-19?
I don't know what to say about that because I looked at him when he came back from the hospital. He was having problems breathing.
Yeah, but he always has
I don't
problems
know what to
breathing.
say about that.
Right. I mean, you know, what 74-year-old?
Got it.
Right.
And Grassley's 87 years old.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, pretty much his whole administration has it from his super spreaders. You know.
I mean, there's another thing I don't understand with some of these people. No, masks are not comfortable, but they're not going to kill you. What is this whole thing about freedom of not wearing a mask? And you're going to put all these people around you at risk, put yourself at risk. I try to be very careful. I'm sure you do too.
Right.
I've never seen anything like this.
Hey, listen, I just think we should all wear masks just for the filth in our air, let alone whatever they spray on us every day with chemtrails.
I don't know. This is crazy.
So let me again go back to the election, because some people are saying this was a stolen election, yet Trump's top election official, the poor bastard Chris Krebs, said that it was totally legit and probably the safest election we've had. And he got fired on Twitter. Do you believe that this election was thrown?
Not like previous ones have been. No, I don't.
Okay, so what do we do to get him out of the White House?
The only thing we have left, and as I said, Pence will not invoke it, and he would need a majority of the cabinet to go along with him, would be to invoke the 25th Amendment.
Yeah, but I mean, they had so much time. They should have invoked it 4 years ago.
Honey, they should have convicted him on the impeachment.
Well, you know, listen, I got to also blame the Democrats. With 1,000,001 things that they could have tried to impeach him on, I think they picked the weakest one. You know, Ralph Nader, as you know, since he writes for your site, he gave a complete list of things that he should have been impeached for.
Oh, yeah.
But, you
Honey,
know...
we have problems with Nancy Pelosi, too, and that is very sad because, I mean, you can't beat her brains. I mean, she really knows how to work things.
Yeah, and she
did a lousy job with the impeachment.
Mm-hmm.
She's not really helping us now.
No, and she just got reelected Speaker of the House for another 2 years.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, how much more back and forth are we going to deal with while Americans are starving, their unemployment's running out? We've got food banks, you know, going bare on the shelves, and I'm sure you've seen the photographs of the lines of cars at these food banks.
Oh, my God, yes. Oh, yes. There was one down here yesterday. There must have been, they had 3 lines coming in for food, and they must have been at least a mile or so long.
Well, the ones in Texas, it looked like there were 6 lines at 10 miles long. And yet Texas voted for Trump. I mean, they got the worst amount of COVID-19 cases. They were all on the bread lines, and yet they voted for him. I mean, I don't understand what's wrong with people.
Well, what's the same thing with Florida? I mean, especially the amount of retirees we have here, and they voted against their own interests. I mean, he has threatened, if he made it, he was going to cut Social Security. Mm-hmm. Right now, quietly behind the scenes, you know, he's just signing one after another executive order. God knows what he is pulling.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I feel sorry for you being in Florida. It's always Florida. Ron DeSantis tried everything to basically kiss Trump's behind, and Trump still demonized him and said he'd blame him or fire him if Florida didn't vote for him.
Oh.
I mean, I've never seen a big baby like this.
Awful governor. I mean, the last 3, from Jebby Bush to Rick Scott, who unfortunately now is in the U.S. Senate, and this Ron DeSantis. I don't know which one of them is the worst. DeSantis is stupid. I mean, there's another one. Ignorant or stupid. I'm not sure which, but he's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he does the damnedest things. He's opened up the state. The COVID is soaring here. And as I said, and that's another thing. I can't believe that the Cubans in Miami are still the ones who took their fortunes and fled from Castro and now want to take Cuba back. I can't believe it, but yet he allegedly won that vote.
None of it makes sense. I was just telling that to my doctor. How could it be possible that Latinos voted for Trump? I mean, they were grateful that the Native Americans here certainly had a huge part.
You've got two types of Latinos, especially here in Florida. I can't speak for elsewhere. You have the anti-Castro ones, and you have the anti-Maduro ones. Or they used to be the anti-Chavez ones. Now, these people are all affluent. Huh?
Right.
Okay. They are the problem. But I can't believe the numbers of them. I mean, by this time, the anti-Castro ones who fled Castro have to be, 70, 80, 90 years old.
Right. Well, maybe they like the Gestapo like Trump. Who knows? I mean, I can't make sense of it. But, here in Arizona, the Native American vote really helped push the state blue.
Well, at least they have the damn sense to vote for their own interests.
Exactly. And believe it or not, it was their reservations that were suffering the worst under COVID and getting no help from the federal government.
Nothing. No.
So we're still screwing over the Native Americans all these hundreds of years later.
I tell you.
So what do you make of the two competing vaccines now, Pfizer and Moderna?
I don't know what to say. My advice to people is don't be rushed to be first in line. We don't know what this is going to do to people.
Right.
It's just like all the idiots about the COVID being a joke or a hoax or whatever. Even if they get a very light case of it, it seems that they wind up with damaged organs.
Right. Well, I'm sure you saw that nurse that works in ICU. She says as these people are dying from COVID-19, they still are saying it's a hoax.
Right.
I mean,
I'm sorry. I keep laughing. I know this is not funny.
I know, but it's like Trump has some kind of gift like Mesmer, where he has mesmerized people into believing every lie that comes out of his mouth, which is basically every word that comes out of his mouth. Another little aside that you don't see on TV news is hate crimes were up in 2019. Something like 38%.
Yeah.
And
sure, he stirred it all up.
Exactly. I blame it all on Trump. I mean, he likes to instigate, but when it comes down to it, he's a coward.
Oh, yeah.
He's the biggest coward who still wants to brag about punching his teacher in the face when he was in school.
Where he gets his joy is the misery he causes others.
Yes, he does. He's a sicko. He's a sick pup. But one of the huge stories, okay, and I don't know that I've seen it on TV news yet, was that Trump in his last days now, because he wants to do his scorched earth thing, actually wanted to bomb Iran on behalf of Israel. He figured it was...
That was talked about last night.
Right, figured it's now or never, okay. Iran is suffering enough poverty, starvation, etc., plus COVID-19 because of our sanctions.
I saw an article on that this morning that some of his gang in the White House have been talking him out of that.
Yeah, but
But that doesn't mean anything with Trump, does it?
no, it doesn't. And it's a scary thing that this guy can still do that. And I've said it
Well,
all
it's like the
along.
remark he made when he first ran for office about the nuclear weapons. What good are they if we have them and can't use them?
Right, right. Well, let's use them on hurricanes. Let's not leave
Oh.
that one out. So let me ask you this. I mean, you've been in this business longer than me. What do you think, if any, the future is of the GOP?
I have no idea.
I mean, you think they're still going to stay the Trumpettes once Trump is gone? Or do you think that they'll try to tame themselves down?
The GOP basically is the rich people's party. Now, what's going to happen after Trump goes, I don't know. The only thing we can look back at is when, the GOP came into being, I'm drawing a blank here.
What?
The party that preceded them started with a W. Isn't that awful?
What, the Whig Party?
There we go, the Whigs.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to the Democratic Party. I mean, people are fed up with that, too.
Well, Bernie, again, is under the idea that because he helped support Biden after he got screwed out of the nomination again, that Biden would have a much more progressive agenda and listen to the young progressives in the Democratic Party.
Well, that's like Pelosi. I mean, she picked on AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and the others. They don't get it. They are stuck in whatever ruts they are in, and the world is moving on, and people are fed up. Now, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right, right.
What we need is a progressive party.
Absolutely. Listen, I've been saying that for 4 years now. We need to get rid of the dinosaurs in both parties. The progressives.
The dinosaurs necessarily aren't of age. And you can be a 30-something or 20-something and be a dinosaur, too.
Right.
But yes, they have to go.
Absolutely. I am happy that so many more people of color, so many more women, transsexuals, gay people have gotten into office in this election. But as long as you have the sticklers at the top, the Pelosi and the McConnells, they're just going to keep ignoring the people who truly represent us.
Right, right.
I mean, how many months?
Well, they're blaming the progressives for not winning the Senate and for losing members of the House, the seats in the House.
Yeah, but I don't buy that.
The progressives who did that, they did it to themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, with every single crime that Trump has committed every single day, where were the Democrats on it? Where were they? Just sitting back, counting down the days, counting all the lobbyist money that both parties get? I mean, how could they have let this guy get away with it? Think about it. Let's just say Richard Nixon called our troops losers. Okay? How long would Nixon have stayed in office?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
I mean, how many more homeless veterans need to be on the street? How many more Americans have to die because the stimulus has been back and forth like a ping pong ball?
Well, how many Americans that can't pay their rent or their mortgages or even pay for their cars? I mean, and then they're saddled with all this student debt. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just mind-boggling.
This world is mind-boggling. Did you ever think you'd live to see the day where a bunch of white supremacist men would plot to kidnap, rape, and kill a female governor like Whitmer in Michigan?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're out there.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, what's being said about it? Not much.
No, and Trump blew it off.
Tisk, because, did you get on the television? Tisk, wasn't that awful? I mean...
Well, Trump didn't even think it was a big deal.
Oh, what did he say about Charlotte? There are good people on both sides. I mean...
Right, and all these years later in America, they still don't classify the Ku Klux Klan as a terrorist group. Or the Proud Boys, which I don't know what they're proud of. All these other wackos out there, armed to the teeth. I mean, you looked at that supposed...
One of the problems is, and I'm saying this, that I'm not necessarily an anti-gun person, but it's out of control. I mean, I don't know about you, but, just thinking about it, you're out there in public and you don't know some goddamn nut, sorry about my French, pulls a gun out of his pocket or wherever he keeps it and starts shooting at people. What the hell are we doing?
Well, what do you think about that kid, Kyle Rittenhouse, who the Trump party and the GOP made a hero out of?
Yeah.
A 17-year-old kid who goes out on a killing. Well, it's hard not to say that Trump is really living out Putin's wildest dreams. I mean, he has created more hatred between Americans than I have ever seen, even during the civil rights movement.
I think Trump is living out more of Netanyahu's dream.
Well, that too. They got to get their war on with Iran.
I don't see where Putin is doing all this stuff he gets accused of. I'm not saying he's a good guy. I don't know. I don't live in Russia.
All right.
I don't particularly want to live in Russia.
I don't either. But we might be soon, because we can't even get toilet paper in America now. Remember when we were kids, they always said how people had to stay online in Russia just to buy toilet paper or to get food?
Well, yeah, but that was going way back.
Right. But now here we are, and I'm like, what? People don't stock up on toilet paper?
Certain areas are starting to hoard again.
Yeah.
I know my cousin who lives in the Midwest mentioned it to me over the phone the other day. So apparently they're seeing stuff disappearing there again. We've never gotten totally back. I mean, you go into the stores here, and where the toilet paper should be, maybe there's a few rolls of it.
Right.
The paper towel is back now. That's interesting.
Right.
Some of the cleaning products you still can't get. I'm trying to myself, what the heck is going on here?
I know. It's like we're the third world country now. Bev, we need to take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Meria. I don't often get to talk directly to the listeners here on the Gary Knoll Network, but I felt like doing that today. I know a lot of you really enjoy my show, but you might not know that I do 4 shows a week over at my website, meria.net. So if you're loving the show you get to hear on Sunday, come on over to my site and subscribe, because I've got hundreds of hours of great shows on pretty much every topic in the universe. And that again is meria.net, meria.net. And now we can get back to this excellent show. Thanks. Hi, Meria here, and I have a message. Due to the pressure of the times we're living in, I'm calling on all students and millennials to get the education they need to fight the fascism taking over our world. I've made a special subscription offer for students and for seniors on a limited budget. For just $9.99 a month, you can subscribe and get that education. Over 500 hours of real education that's necessary to understand the world, the problems, and the solutions. Remember, knowledge is power. Together you can change the world, but to do so, you must be informed of what's really going on and have real facts to support you in your endeavors. It's time for all the grandmothers to take a stand and teach the younger generation what their life could be and how to get there. Help me help you. One person cannot do it alone, and the guidance you seek is right here at www.meria.net, meria.net. Your generation is the generation we've been waiting for, so let me help you. Thanks for listening. Okay, welcome back. I'm speaking with Bev Conover, the editor and publisher of Intrepid Report. She and I have been around for a long time, and both of us can attest that we have never seen anything like this, ever. So again, here's another question I want to throw at you, Bev. What do you think about the super quick confirmation of Amy Barrett?
Oh, God. Oh, please. Oh, please. Horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. The only thing I can chuckle about, I forgot what the Supreme Court has refused to hear, that his stuff in the court so far hasn't totally worked.
No, they didn't
But
hand
they're
him the
stuffing
election.
all the courts, and that's what McConnell's getting ready to do now, finish the stuffing of our courts instead of taking care of the people with some stimulus help.
Right. When you look at how fast they swept, I call her the handmaiden, into the Supreme Court. That's how fast they could pass a stimulus for Americans, but they don't. It's been, 6, 7 months now?
I don't know.
But, I read today that her husband intends to continue practicing law, which they say is a conflict of interest.
Her husband, I didn't quite catch that.
Her husband said that he's going to continue practicing law.
Oh. Oh, God, what can I tell you?
So let me ask you this. Do you think that the Biden administration will pack the court, or as Wayne Madsen wrote that excellent piece in your journal, unpack the court?
I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. I wish I did. It'd be nice if he could unpack the court, yes.
I mean, Alito came out
as
this...
I loved Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Basically, she should have retired while Obama was still in the White House.
Mm-hmm.
And not in the last year of his thing with McConnell saying, no, we're not going to vote for Supreme Court justice.
Right. Well, listen, the double standard and the hypocrisy of the Republican Party is amazing.
I don't know how they sleep at night. I think about this. The damn dumbest, stupid, dangerous, horrible things they do. I don't know how they show their faces in public, and yet they go on like nothing's happened.
I know. Well, I would say they probably hang from the rafters by their feet at night, like Dracula.
I don't know.
I don't understand either. It's obvious Trump doesn't sleep at night.
I mean, it's like Susan Collins. She gets reelected.
Yeah, how is that? How does that happen?
Stephen King. I don't know if you follow him or not on Twitter.
Yeah, he has some pretty good zingers out there.
Oh, he's funny.
But I mean, how does the poorest state in the union, Kentucky, they are literally the poorest state in the country, how do they keep reelecting Mitch McConnell?
I don't know. I mean, there's another puzzle. And he's another one that really could go to prison. He and that wifey of his and her Chinese family own ships that have been running drugs.
Oh, well, I know. I've reported on it. Well, at least she'll lose her job come January. I mean, one thing of relief is we don't have to see this entire administration from Kellyanne to Bill Barr after January. I mean, I have to tell you, covering them is the stuff of nightmares.
You left out Betsy DeVos.
Oh, well, she's as good as gone, and they're already planning to reverse pretty much everything she's done. But think about how many millions of dollars we've spent just for protection for her.
And think how many millions or trillions of dollars been wasted on the stuff that she's done.
Right, and let alone the $144 million for Trump's golf games.
I mean, there's another joke where Trump wants to mess with what kids are taught. going to teach them the proper history to love their country. Like he knows history, right?
Right. He doesn't know jack about history. He is a man who lives in his own little world. And it's all about him. Everything is all about him.
Everything's about him.
And if you're not for him, even if you were his friend and you still give him the no, you get the axe.
The man, I don't know about Melania, whether what he thinks about her, whether she's just a trophy to trot around when he can get her to go out with him. He is just impossible.
Well, most people say that it was a transactional marriage.
Well, whatever it was, I mean, she's been with him now how long?
Too long.
And Barron's go, 14 now, going for 15, so that's a lot of years for transactional marriage.
Well, she did renegotiate her prenup before she agreed to move back into the White House with him. She gave the rest of the world the excuse she didn't want to pull Barron out of school in New York.
Yeah, right.
So, people...
The remark she made, was it a month or so ago, about having to do the effing Christmas decorations.
Right. So once again, it'll look like Count Dracula did the White House.
Oh.
What did you think about the fact...
she's going to do them.
Well, maybe she shouldn't. Maybe she should just go F herself. But, a lot of people taking...
And what's going to cost us to get the Rose Garden fixed?
Right. I mean, Jesus. That Rose Garden's been in place since Jackie Kennedy.
Yeah.
And she made it look as stark and empty as her.
I haven't seen any more on it. Excuse me a minute. That they were digging a trench.
Yeah. Around...
through the lawn. Because they were making jokes that maybe he was putting in the moat.
Right.
I have not seen anything more about what that was all about.
But it sure looks like he's hunkering down.
And what about this horrible extra fence he had put up?
4 of them.
And what did that cost us?
Millions. That he finally got his wall. That's because he's afraid of the public.
I mean, from what I've seen pictures of it, you can't stand outside the White House on the street and see the White House.
No, those are the first things that need to come down. But then we also have to worry about Trump's lunatics and what they're capable of doing. I mean, they were actually protesting outside of Hillary Clinton's house this week.
Well, what can I say? It's just one thing after another, after another, after another.
Well, now that...
And I have, for these past... Actually, it's 5 years since he came down the escalator in New York.
All right.
I have refused to let him destroy me.
Well, it's hard, though. It's very hard.
Well?
If you're a real American, you're a real patriot, you know real history, it's really difficult to see that he has basically destroyed every piece of what was America.
And yet most people don't even know what all he has destroyed.
Well, because they're willfully ignorant.
I mean,
like
he's messed with the water, he's messed with the air, he's messed with all the various science departments. He's messing with our national treasures. Now he's trying to rush out the oil companies to take leases Alaska.
Right.
I mean, it's just one thing after another, after another, after another.
I know. I think it's 300 environmental laws that he's already reversed.
Oh, God.
Because he probably figures I'll be dead, I don't care. I'm going to get as much as I can now to pay off my legal bills once I'm out of office. I mean, even his son, Don Jr., had said that his father, and he was afraid that they would all go to prison if he didn't win the election. So he might have been counting on... I hope to God.
I don't mind paying for that. Let's get him in there and lock him up.
Lock him up would be great. So what do you think about the fact that he's got all these lawsuits that keep getting kicked out of court over the election?
Well, has he got any left?
I don't know. I think so far it's 24. And then when he ran out of, some of his attorneys quit him, probably realizing A, they're never going to get paid, B, they could lose their license to practice. Rudy Giuliani comes along and says, I'll do it for $20,000 a day.
You love that. 20,000 a day. He's got a chutzpah.
So he's trying to put a grift on the biggest grifter that ever
But the courts
lived.
keep laughing him out and saying no to him.
Exactly.
When are they
Exactly.
going to get him for filing all these phony lawsuits?
I agree. Frivolous lawsuits. I mean, this is a waste of time, a waste of the court's money, waste of our money.
Oh.
You know, people don't realize all these lawsuits and whatnot. That's our money. And now, now you got Trump, oh, I'm going to run again in 2024.
I don't think he's going to last that long.
I don't either. I hope he moves out of the country, to tell you the truth. But it better not be a
Where's he gonna
country
go?
where he
Who
can't
wants him?
get extradited from. Well, I guess it won't be Scotland. Scotland wants to sue him for what's going on with his golf courses there and his grifts there. Maybe he can go to wherever the hell his wife came from. There's a thought. Or maybe he can, go to that town in Israel they named after Trump. Maybe he should go live
There
there.
we go.
That'd be perfect.
Oh, please. Ah, lordy. No, what we're seeing, which I question the legality of it, he seems to be governing, if you can call it that, by executive order. And I wonder how constitutional that is.
Right.
And now they're telling Biden, oh, you can do this and that and the other thing with executive orders.
Well, I mean,
I have a faint recollection. I don't know if it was something about Obama, where it was questioned about the number of executive orders that he had issued.
Right.
And they had a whole article about how many Bush had issued and this one had issued. And I mean, it wasn't like Trump was just sitting there putting his name to all. Must be hundreds of, maybe thousands of them. We don't know.
Right. But, listen, even his niece said he would definitely go scorch earth if he doesn't get the election. And she did say he would never run in 2024 because he couldn't face losing again.
As I said, given the condition he is in, and the sniffing that he does, whether he's taking some drug or not, I have no idea. I just don't think he's going to be around. I could be wrong. I thought the COVID would get him, but unfortunately, I shouldn't say that. It didn't.
Well, I mean, come on. What are the chances of a 74-year-old getting COVID and 3 days later he's back like Superman? I mean, I find it hard to believe that he ever had it. I had it. I experienced
it. That rush trip to the hospital was back in, 2018?
Right. Exactly. Maybe mini strokes.
Oh, we don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, the latest...
As I said, when he got back to the White House that night, all he kept doing was he couldn't breathe. You didn't just notice that?
Right. Exactly. Of course I did.
It doesn't have to be COVID to do that. It could be something else that he...
Right, exactly. Well, he always breathes a heavy breather like that, which makes me sick. But that's neither here nor there. So here you look at the military, the ex-military, the people he fired, whether it's John Kelly, McMaster's, whatever. They're all now talking shit about Trump. Where were they when they could have actually done something? Where were they during the impeachment?
Where were all of them?
Right.
Now, Trump, Pence, in my book, if he were president, he'd be more dangerous than Trump. He's got a few brains. But for this good Christian man, he just goes along with everything.
Right.
Instead of saying, no, this has got to stop.
Well,
as I said, bringing up the 25th Amendment. And I'm sure there was a point in the White House where he had enough other cabinet officers to back him up in doing it. I don't know now what's left.
Right. I mean, really. And who knows how long that would take. We only got, 63 days left?
Oh.
But he can wreak a lot of havoc in the next 63
he can do
days.
a lot of damage in 63 days.
Yeah, he could start World War III. He could bomb everybody out of existence. This guy is a guy who hates to lose. He still won't admit that he lost the election. And it's been 2 weeks.
He keeps tweeting out that he won.
Yeah, he won all right. He won the state of denial. That's about the only state. Did you get to see Giuliani in Borat's movie?
No, I haven't.
It's worth seeing the movie. Borat does a great job tearing everything apart. But there's no way Giuliani can talk his way out of what was happening in that bedroom once you see the film. And I think...
What's the joke that Stephen Colbert made last night about Giuliani being good at pubic... I'm telling you.
I'll tell you this. You could see the way that late night is exhausted with this president. I don't know if you saw the Colbert episode where he was totally serious talking about the election and the damage that Trump has done to this country.
Was that the night he started to cry?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
I mean, Trump's answer is, with Biden and, the media is not going to have anybody exciting to talk about. I don't want to ever hear about the president. I want it to go back to the way it was when we don't have to hear about it 24 hours a day.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It'd be like a vacation.
I don't know.
It's just too much.
All I missed this time around is a Dick Gregory.
Yeah, that's for sure. Or, we don't really have too many political comedians, but I watch these late night hosts, and I'll tell you what, they do a much better job covering the news than the news does.
But the news is so-called news is in a rut. Whether you go to MSNBC, if you go over to CNN, and I admit I don't watch Fox. I suppose I should to get my education of what they do. I've never watched Fox News. The only places I've encountered their straight news, but I don't know what they call this other junk was Tucker Carlson and
yeah, I don't watch
people.
it.
I've never watched it.
I can't watch it. It's too upsetting to watch it. Why make myself sicker than I already am? But now Trump's talking about
MSNBC and CNN, and they keep recycling all these people.
I know, and it's you watch it at 2:00, 3:00. It's the same stories over and over again, just a different face.
And I'm saying to myself, hey, wait a minute, this guy is doing all these other horrible things. Why aren't you reporting them?
Right. Well, truth in media, that went away, I think, in the 70s.
Oh, God.
And now with Trump, everything's fake news. So, of course, he's talking about starting his own news station. Which Howard Stern said would fail within a year, just like all the rest of his businesses. And, Howard Stern used to be a pal of his. You know what I mean? But the best is, what's his name? Alec Baldwin. He came out and slammed Trump so hard last week. And since I'm banned on Facebook, I posted it on Liker.com. And I got over
it. Banned on Facebook again?
Oh, yeah. A 30-day ban. Because I gave them my opinion of Mitch McConnell. And I guess they didn't care for it.
I'm not spending much time on Facebook. I look at it several times a day. I post over the headlines from Intrepid Report. Same thing with Twitter. I do admit for Twitter, though, I will look up what Trump is doing, what Mary Trump is saying, and what Stephen King and some of these other people are saying. But I've lost my taste for all of this.
I have too. Facebook is a vast wasteland, and it's just
now
a place.
This other horrible thing, which I've never gone over there. What's it called now?
Parler.
Parl or something like that. TARL.
Yeah, and you know who's co-sponsors it?
It's the right wingers.
The Mercer family.
Well, you know where they're coming from.
Right. So, I mean, for me, you can get more value and use out of Instagram than any of the rest.
I'm not on Instagram at all.
Yeah, but, people have to get that, Facebook is just a place to go to get angry, just to continue waving that bell every morning. Here's Pavlov's bell. This is what you're going to be pissed off about today. Plus, I had a story that a lot of their fact checkers are in China.
Hmm? No, some of the Facebook that I do look at, sometimes they run the whole program, sometimes they run pieces of it. The one with Hyacinth Bouquet.
I don't know which one that is.
Keeping Up Appearances.
Oh.
I get a kick out of that.
Oh.
Then I got hooked on some monkeys, which I see them every now and then. Dodo and Donnell.
Oh.
I think this comes from Sri Lanka, where these monkeys are.
Wow.
Oh. But other than that...
Well, what I have noticed over the past week, since I can only look, I can't touch on Facebook, is people are actually starting to put up pictures of their pets again and their food again. So the political edge is pretty much, I would say, where it used to be 90%, is probably down to 30%. So I just found that curious.
Oh, well.
I just thought I'd mention. I'd rather see people's dogs and cats.
Yes? Did I lose you?
No, I'm still here. Can you hear me, Beth?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh. Well, anyway, I guess we're going to have to take a wait and see between now and January. But you and I will have to get together and do our January year-end review show, for sure. But we're out of time today, and I just wanted to thank you. And hey, you know what? It was nice to hear you laugh.
Well, laughter keeps you sane, my dear.
That's for sure. Laughter is the best medicine.
So, what can I say?
Well,
I don't know what you're doing for the holidays, but...
Very little. But I might take
my cousins are not coming.
Yeah.
My friends were going to come up from South Florida. And I got to thinking about that and saying, hey, man, that's not too smart. So I called them up, and I thought they would be mad at me. They were thinking the same thing, so...
Oh, right. Hey, I agree. But this will be the first time in 5 years I'm going to take a week off.
Well, I'm going to take off for Christmas. I don't care.
All right, Bev. Well, I will definitely talk to you, and we'll hook up for January. So whatever you do, stay safe and enjoy yourself.
And you too.
All right, Tom.
That's all we can do. Try to stay safe.
Right. All right, Bev. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, Meria.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bev Conover, IntrepidReport.com. Have you heard Bev laugh once in the past 5 years? Today we're laughing probably out of, I don't know, hysteria. But it's still good to hear she has a laugh. Anyway, thanks for supporting the show. And take care of yourselves, because if you don't, no one else will. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you for listening and supporting the Meria Show. Tell others what you learned today. Knowledge becomes wisdom only when it's shared. Encourage others to subscribe today. www.meria.net. Often imitated, never duplicated. A world of information all in one place. www.meria.net. Always ahead of the curve. Always on your side. Get active or get radioactive. Subscribe today.